And all this brings us back to where we began, the probe into the Trump-Russia collusion. Now, remember, in the course of his investigation, John Durham, the U.S. attorney, has reportedly obtained, we learned this just today, 2 BlackBerry phones that were used by Joseph Mifsud. He's the mysterious Maltese professor who sparked the entire Russia probe. On hearing the news, my next guest remarked, "I lived this spy story." Boy, does he want to know what's on those BlackBerries. Joining me now, George Papadopoulos, author of the book Deep State Target. George, you just heard the previous conversation. You can comment on that if you want. But what did you mean by that very ominous line in hearing that these Mifsud BlackBerries have been taken by the U.S. government?
Thanks a lot for having me, Laura. So basically, how I would summarize this, the grand statesman under Rome, Cicero, do you know what he said? He said that a nation can survive the ambitious and the fools, but it can't survive treason from within. What I think happened in 2016 and all the events surrounding the 2016 campaign and the spying that took place on me and Michael Flynn and others was tantamount to treason. What happened was there was an intelligence agency with an axe to grind against both candidate Trump and obviously President Trump, where we see the Russia hoax now evolving into Ukraine Gate. This is not going to stop. I predicted that Joseph Mifsud, the individual whose both his BlackBerries are now in the hands of the DOJ, was a Western intelligence agent. I wrote about it in my book, exactly how I came into contact with this person, who introduced me to him, and what he wanted. Something I did not know, and something that actually surprised me very much, is that Joseph Mifsud was also spying on Michael Flynn just 2 months before he started his encounters with me. So we're going to get to the bottom of exactly how both Michael Flynn and my fates have intertwined in this very bizarre story.
Now, George, this was about what, December 2015? Was that when you first encountered him or came into contact with Mifsud?
Well, what happened was I first joined the Ben Carson campaign, I think in December of 2015 until February of 2016. And as soon as I joined that campaign, I had various State Department officials in London and in other capitals around the world probing me, asking me all about Ben Carson, what he was up to, and what the campaign's platform was all about. As soon as I leave that campaign and I join the Donald Trump campaign in March of 2016, before even the Washington Post or the American media knew that I was joining this campaign, I had Joseph Mifsud and other intelligence agencies knowing all about me, what I was doing, and what Donald Trump's campaign was all about. So the notion that this investigation, Crossfire Hurricane, started spontaneously on July 31st, 2016 is absurd.
That was ridiculous.
I think John Durham and William Barr, it's completely absurd.
No,
and what we're going
totally
to finally realize is we're going to understand how soon did these intelligence agencies, who had vested interests in a Clinton presidency, by the way, people forget that in 2016, the reason I'm being sued apparently now by the Italian prime minister is because the guy in 2016, the socialist prime minister, Matteo Renzi, and David Cameron in 2016, and Morrison, I think, or whoever the leader was in Australia in 2016, these people detested Donald Trump's America First platform. While America First might have been music to the ears of Americans, it was vitriol to the globalist agenda.
Yeah, George, that's a great way to end this, because he represented, Trump, an existential threat to the global order that they wanted to keep. They wanted to keep this whole racket going with globalism, and Trump was the skunk at that globalist picnic. George, thanks so much. All right, stay there. A lot more coming up.